Hello. All right, so what's been percolating for me is to share about why losing yourself in long-term love is critical, contrary to popular belief, right? Everyone says, don't lose yourself in love. I'm going to walk with you. I feel like walking. Okay, so when I say lose yourself, I don't mean losing the core of who you are. So, yes, I'm playing with words here. But it could mean that. And so let me explain. So, losing the core of who you are is often how we discover who we are. Right? Like we learn by oftentimes we learn by the absence of something. Like, oh, I can't feel who I am. Like, who am I? This is a great question. It's so exciting when we lose ourselves, because then we get to discover, well, who am I? What am I deeply committed to? Okay, so that's one perspective that I offer my clients, right? So perfect. If you're losing yourself in a relationship, great. Who are you? What are you most committed to? And that is a beautiful place to be an inquiry. Now, beyond that, when I say lose yourself in relationships, I mean losing your preferences, losing your need for others to be responsible for what's actually yours to be responsible for. So, for example, when we talk about attachment styles, I think it's really beautiful to know your own attachment style and to know your partner's attachment style and to give grace. So, my partner's more the avoidant and I'm more the anxious. That's a typical pairing, right? So therefore I'm more like clingy, and I would love affirmation to know he's not leaving me if there's upset in a relationship. And he needs space when there's upset, because he needs to know that I'm not going to take him from himself, right? And so you can see, and this is like where battles come in relationships all the time, is people have these opposite, like, but I know everything's okay, and he's like, but I need to know I'm okay. They give me space. And so we can give each other grace there if we understand that, and that's beautiful. And there's a way that we can give that to ourselves without needing our partner to do that for us. So it's a both and. Like, I totally advocate and teach my clients how to offer this grace to each other. Well, usually for one partner, I usually just work with one of the people in the relationship. And then usually when one person gives grace, it becomes reciprocal. And can you meet yourself and give yourself, like, self-soothing essentially is what that is, even if your partner is unable to do it. And so that's where losing yourself is critical, because if you're just stuck on your preference of like, well, I'm giving my partner grace and like I can meet them with their attachment needs, but they're not meeting mine, so like they're all bad and wrong. I mean, that's one assertion you can make, and just see where that gets you. Does that create more connection, more love, more intimacy? No. So that's where you're losing your preference of like, my partner must do this for me. Instead, when you really give grace from generosity, it's not like a give and take, right? It's not transactional. And I'm going to go against what I just said too. Relationships really are transactional. So there is like a level of give and take and reciprocity. So it's a both and. Everything that I say, I will contradict, is what I'm trying to say. So yes, and to everything. Yes. Challenge. I say challenge and champion your partner. Like, this is what I really want to create in our partnership. Are you up for that? And invite them into that with no attachment to their response. Can you be with with whatever their response is? If you can't, that's your work to do. I think that's basically what I want to say. Otherwise, I'll just keep repeating myself. So it's important to lose yourself in relationship so you can find out who you are and what you're actually committed to give grace without expectation or attachment, and to also know that you're in a transactional relationship for the better part of relationships. once you get to the transcendent level of relating, transaction is included, but it's not exclusively how you relate. Most of us are exclusively relating in transactional manner, and that's okay. It's not bad. It's actually just part of our evolution. But I feel so many people in the spiritual and personal growth communities expect these transcendental relationships and like look down on transactional relating, when that's just the ecology of relationships. There is transaction until you evolve beyond it. But more often than not, people who are looking for that like woke evolved partner, or think that the partner that they're with is unevolved or need, whatever, not evolved enough. The truth is that you're not as evolved as you think you are. You actually are in a transactional relationship. And the sooner that you can be humble enough to lose your preferences and how things should be and how woke you think you are and how evolved your relationship should be, all these shoulds, can you just be with your relationship as it is? Can you be with your partner as they are? Can you be with yourself as you are? Which goes back to everything I just said. Do you actually know what you're deeply committed to? Are you able to give grace even if your partner doesn't? Are you able to champion your partner and invite them into something bigger without making them wrong? I think most people can't. And that's why I have a lot of work to do. And I'm happy to do it and delighted to do it. And I didn't know how to do it. And that's what I learned and created inside of my own marriage. We've been together for 8 years, and there were times where there was so much disconnection and triggering so easily because neither one of us was willing to give grace, or neither one of us really understood our attachment styles and what we needed, or neither one of us was willing to give up their preferences. Neither one of us really knew what they were committed to. And so this is where I know that you can single-handedly transform your relationship because I did that. And it's a co-creation because I invited my partner into it, and then he shows up with me. He might sound different than me. He might look and talk differently than how I do it because he doesn't read the books I do and go to the workshops I do. But that doesn't really matter because the nutrient of our relationship, the thing that we're committed to and that I invite him into, he's on board. He shows up in his own way. I look for it. I see it. And it's obvious. And now I just look at him and I'm like, what's not to love? And I wish that for all couples, because you can go from this, is this the person right for me? They need to be more evolved. They need to learn these strategies I'm learning in these workshops, or all these things where us evolved people are looking for this really evolved partner, but we don't actually know how to love well. And so that's what I teach clients. And it has a lot to do with losing yourself. And I explained that, and I don't need to repeat it. So if you're just tuning in now, go to the beginning of this video and I talk about what I actually mean by that. And until you're really willing to lose yourself and to acknowledge you're actually in a transactional relationship, and then that's perfect and awesome, then you're going to feel dissatisfied and make your partner wrong. And good luck with that, right? If you really want love, deeply satisfying love and intimacy and sex and purpose, that comes as a result of choosing. All right, so much love. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'm happy to interact with you. It's my favorite thing. And I'll see you next time.